Hello, Happy New Year and welcome back to another episode on our channel. 2024 was an unbelievable year for us. We went from 500 subs to over 20,000 subs, so we owe you a massive thanks for your support and we do really appreciate it. What we thought we'd do in this week's episode is basically just do a recap, a little bit about last year and an update on all of the cars in the fleet, because we've obviously got the Mustang, the two C5s, Chris's C5, the Kev, the absolutely battered C5 that I have, and of course the ZR1 and others. So we're just going to basically go over the status of all of the cars and what the future plans are for the cars and for the channel. I'm on Chris's drive and Chris is back and he's in the videos and he's never been anywhere. It's just that leading up to Christmas, with the weather being rubbish and everything else, the timings haven't worked. We both work full time and it's been a right nightmare, to be honest, to try and get regular content out. But hopefully as the weather improves throughout the year, we'll be working together as per usual and finally finishing the ZR1, but we'll come to that at the end of the video, so don't go anywhere because we're going to give you an update on the ZR1 later on. But first, Mustang. If you remember the video that we did on the Mustang a few weeks before Christmas, I bought this car. Quick recap, I bought it for 16.5 grand at the start of December. It was an absolute bargain. One of the points of negotiation was that stupidly loud exhaust. And I know that some of you really liked it, but let me tell you, it was so loud, it was ridiculous. And I'm pleased to say that I've actually gone back to standard on the rear silencers and I've got those fitted. So Chris, come around back, let's have a look at where we're at with that. And if you've watched the other video on the Mustang, if you remember, we did a sound pressure level test and we're going to do an A/B comparison, so we're going to see how much quieter it is now. But let's have a look at where we're at with it. So these, and I did offer to give these to a channel viewer with a Mustang. The offer still stands. If you want them, I can post them to you, or you can pick them up. But yeah, they're Cobra, basically rear silencer, stainless replacement unit. So they're quite a nice thing, but just way too loud for me.
Doesn't seem like there's a lot of silencing going off in there.
Well,
is there anything? Is it just pipe? It's literally just pipe, isn't
yeah,
it?
it's not
even got like a glass pack type thing going on.
There's nothing in there. It's just a completely hollow pipe, and they do sound really good, but they also give you a headache. See you in a bit. Right then, let's go. They weren't friendly in any way. They're not friendly to neighbours, wives, or anybody else. Unfortunately, the actual tips don't look as cool. These tips are a bit nicer looking. If I just put that side by side, so that's a little bit of a trade-off.
Could you? No, that tip's actually fixed the back box, isn't it?
Yeah, these ones look cooler, but I can live with that. I kind of feel like the new ones look a bit pea-shootery. So the back boxes are now back on and those straight pipes are gone. It has still got the centre resonator delete. Some people fit X pipes, but this car's got what you'd say is a H pipe. Gets rid of the central resonator. And the work was carried out by a guy called Dan at Retro Rides Welding and Fabrication in Leicestershire. I'll put his details below. If you're in Leicestershire or say Nottingham or somewhere and you want some fabrication work doing, he's not paying me to say this, but he did an amazing job. He charged me about 150 quid and he's done a really nice job for me, so I'm happy. And now it means that we can use the car and not deafen ourselves or get pissed off or worry that we're upsetting people. Let's have a listen to how it sounds anyway. So it does still sound like a fruity V8, but I'd say it's about 40 to 50% lower volume. than what it was before. But we're going to get the SPL meter out on the phone and check it. So let's just give it a rev first. This is hot idle. What do you reckon?
Still, I think it's still plenty loud enough.
Sounds all right, doesn't it?
Yeah.
But you know,
enough.
when you're in the car, it's absolutely, it sounds really quiet, to be fair.
That's enough. That's exactly enough.
So let's see what the app's saying.
On tickover, it's really quiet, but as soon as you open it up, it's got a good growl to it.
Yeah, I think the mid section's what's causing that, isn't it? Here we go. Right, so if we remember in the last video, and I'll insert a clip, it was 100 decibels on tickover, which is just totally ludicrous, and then revving it at like, I don't know, 3,000 to 4,000 RPM, so only like halfway up the rev range, because these are high revving cars. It was over 120 dBs, which is ludicrously
I bet it was louder than that.
Yes, it's very loud. If you look on the scale of how SPL works and how the decibel scale works, things that are in that kind of range are just like they're actually deafening and quite dangerous. So it was just way too loud. Anyway, so now
it's a doubling for every 3 dB basically.
It's about 73, 74.
A quiet cafe.
So if I put this here and rev it, here we go. So let's see how loud we can get it.
Sorry neighbours at 8. No.
Ready?
Yeah. Still over 100.
Is it?
But basically at wide open throttle there, you the same volume you were at tickover before. The thing is, if you've got a really loud car, you basically can't go out in the morning. You can go out in that at 6 AM and no one's going to be that bothered.
Yeah, on cold start, it's fine. You're not going to upset people, but it's still got a fruity V8 sound. So I'm pretty much happy with that. I don't feel like I need to change it. Other plans for the car? Obviously, it needs a wash. We're going to do that today. There's a few bits on it, like, you know, I'm not that happy about certain bits of the panel fit and things, but on the whole, it's a nice car. I think it's just a case of cleaning it up, giving it a little bit of a titivation, and driving it for a bit until we've got a plan and we know what to do with it. I might get it remapped or something like that, but it's...
Has it got the sequential rear lights?
It's got the sequential rear lights, yeah.
I saw sort of, yeah.
Did you notice it?
I saw them come on, yeah.
Yeah, look.
Very nice.
That's their aftermarket, but that's cool, isn't it?
Yeah, I like those, they're good.
Cool, right, so that is the Mustang. We're going to move on now, and I'm going to hold the camera. And I'm going to divert you to this
Yeah, well,
cheeky face.
now?
Look at him.
What?
Not seen that face for a while, have we, on the channel?
It's been winter and the weather's been getting the better of us, hasn't it? And commitments and things.
That's it.
Work.
Anyway, I'm chuffed to bits with this. It's such a nice...
yeah, manual V8's the way to go.
Yeah, it's such a nice car, and actually it's perfectly usable in the winter. I know a lot of people say you shouldn't be driving Mustangs in icy weather, but I don't have an issue with it.
I think that's what gets you though, isn't it? It's the old false sense of security. Oh, okay, I'm going to bite you.
Yeah. I think if you know that you could potentially spin on an icy corner, you just take that little bit extra.
You've got to, be careful.
So that's the Mustang. So the Mustang is like, you know, a perfect daily driver. I just need to wash it and clean it up and decide what I want to do with it, because the only reason that we bought it was purely because it was cheap and it's a cool manual V8 car.
No, we like that.
Yeah,
sort of
and I also need a car that's not a project car that I can just jump in and enjoy. And it just, at the moment, it's fine. It probably won't stay for that long. It's not something that I intend to keep for ages, but at the moment, I'm enjoying it. Now, do you remember back on the 8th of November? Beginning of November, we did a long form video on the convertible C5 automatic. I'm going to go before that van.
A fundamentally nice car.
It was an awesome
just
car.
Needed a few electrical fixes.
So we bought that car actually in something like April, and it was unregistered. There was no paperwork with it, and it had been off the road for a long time. So over a period of months, we went through the process of getting the car registered, fixing all the small faults. We filmed it bit by bit, and in November we launched a video that was like an hour and a half long. If you've not seen it yet, it's worth a watch. You could put it on and fall asleep to it if you wanted to. But the entire story of that car was wrapped up in one video. What we didn't talk about is what happened afterwards, and we've actually sold the car to a channel member, Alan in the northeast. Hope you're enjoying it. I know it's been not great weather this winter, so I'm guessing that you've probably not done that many miles in it, but I'm hoping that we'll see you at a car show in the summer. Who knows? So it's gone to Alan, and we had the rather silly idea actually of driving the car up to Alan, which is 150 to 200 miles
Newcastle, isn't it?
Up north, around Newcastle area in the UK. And we wanted to buy a fun, cheap car to drive home in with not doing any research beforehand. So the idea is we drive the car up to Alan, drop the car off, and then hit Auto Trader, eBay, Gumtree, Facebook Marketplace, and try and find something to buy.
There were some mad ideas. What was it? Was it a Citroen Diane or something at one point?
Citroen BX.
A BX, yeah.
Yeah.
There was loads of Z4s and things like that.
Z4s, basically anything for like 3 to 5 grand that was going to be fun, and we could, you know, make a few videos out of and maybe sell for a bit of
mildly interesting.
On that day, that was the worst possible day that we could have picked for taking a car up to Newcastle. The A1, which is like the major road that goes up to the northeast, was completely covered in snow.
Down to one lane in some places.
It was down to one lane. We're in this automatic cabriolet Corvette. We tried to film it, and we wanted to film it as an adventure video, but the reality is the weather was that bad. It just turned out to be a situation where we just needed to safely get the car to Alan. And we didn't really have time to mess around filming, plus it was really cold. And
we were trying to have a conversation, and I was just like locked in on not crashing this car that's been paid for already. Making sure it gets there safe.
And what we ended up doing, we ended up buying a Volvo, which we're going to tell you about in a moment, but we ended up buying a Volvo V70 T5 manual, 2.3 5-cylinder turbo. Pretty cool car as a comfortable way of getting home.
From Nottingham town with a black Corvette, they're cruising around. Autofunk are filming, cameras in tow, documenting road trips in the freezing snow. November's biting, the wind's like ice, but the automagical shifting is smooth and super nice. To the South Shields they drive through the blizzard's roar, dedicated to delivering the vet right to Alan's door.
I've just reset the trip counter. So let us know in the comments, what do you think the fuel economy on this 5.7 V8 American car will be?
Autofunk legends, on the road they thrive, filming every mile, keeping dreams alive. In a Corvette or a Volvo, they're chasing the spark, telling their story, leaving their mark.
And if I was going to come today and buy it and just, you know, pay you and drive the car away, is there much flexibility on price? Because like I said, I need to buy something to come home in today because I don't really want to catch the train home. I'll have a think about it and give you a shout back soon. Cheers. You too. Bye bye. I just got off the phone to Robert, the guy that's selling the V70. Unfortunately, he seems like a really nice guy, and I know that car is genuine. He's owned it since. He had it as a company car and bought it after the lease, and he's had it ever since. He's going to be very sorry to see it go, etc. But he's very, very firm on price, and I don't know if we can do it for that money. But I feel like at the moment that Volvo is our best option.
Probably.
I know that's the only one that we've phoned, but
it's absolutely scything it down.
It's absolutely slamming it down here, and apparently around Newcastle in the northeast it's heavy snow. So we're thinking like we'd quite like an easy journey back.
Citroen Dyna?
The Corvette's performing really well in this weather. It's just, it's dead easy, isn't it?
It's like any other car, really.
But on the way back, it'd be nice to just have something that's like uber comfortable.
They hand over the keys, Alan's full of smiles. But Lou and Chris, they've got a few more miles. No way back home, but they're on the hunt for a bargain ride to pull off a stunt. Scroll through Auto Trader, they strike gold fast. A shiny Volvo V70 built to last.
Okay, here we go. Let's see if he's got it out of the garage. To do, just pull over there and we'll walk. Okay, here we are. We couldn't get to the location of this Volvo, so we've had to dump the Corvette here, and we've managed to park it without smashing the wheels up, which is nice.
Yeah,
just like that.
Let's put the F in there. Glad I've not smashed the wheels up.
Crikey, you thought you were going to, didn't you?
It wasn't stopping.
No.
It just was not stopping.
I'm just going to grab my phone.
Merely a passenger at that point.
Well, I was glad I was not driving. There we go. Look at that.
I'm a bit worried about cars coming around this corner and blooming.
Dude, I think you'll be fine. It's insured.
It's insured.
It's fine. We'll make it work. It is typical that the one day we want to go and drop a bloody car off, it's like this. I wonder if it's in that garage. Is this it? Let's see. Right then, so I will, I'll get in the Corvette,
yeah,
and I'll wait for you, and do you want to follow me and I'll put it in the sat-nav?
Sounds good.
Cool, alright.
Well, ping me the address just in case we get split up.
Okay.
I'll put it in mind then. If
Yeah.
we do get split up.
I'll jump in the passenger seat and you can drive me around actually.
Yeah,
Well, thanks for that, Robert. Pleasure doing business with you.
yeah, nice meeting you. And,
Yeah, likewise.
look after it.
We will do, yeah. I'll get a lift round to the other car.
Do you want me to come round? I'll just have a walk round, make sure that you get going with your Corvette.
Oh, thank you. Alright, and finally then, the moment of truth. What was the economy? So this is over about 150 miles in torrential snow. 25.8 US, which is about 30 mpg UK. I'll flash it up on the screen what the conversion is. But I don't think that's too bad. I don't know about you. Alright, we made it through the snow. And now it's time to say goodbye to the C5 Convertible. And it's time to give it back to its new owner. So what do you think, Alan? Is it what you expected?
I haven't even been in it yet. I've got to get the seat. Does the steering wheel go up?
I'll do the steering wheel for you.
Yeah.
So there's a little lever here,
Champion.
and then see how you fit. Hopefully you'll be all right. Just watch your head as you go in.
Yeah.
Keys there. And it's dead easy to drive. The only thing that you need to watch out for is the speed bumps, really, because it's quite low, yeah.
A T5 2.3 turbo and a manual twist. Plenty of room for their Autofunk kit. Oh, Autofunk legends on the road they thrive. Filming every mile, keeping dreams alive. In a Corvette or a Volvo, they're chasing the spark. Telling their story, leaving their mark. The snow falls heavy, but spirits stay high. Lou and Chris with their cameras fly. The heated seats warm their frozen bones as they vlog their way back to the Nottingham zone. Designer furniture in the spacious back.
And then you look it. Tilted. Shot that we on then, put that in the car.
What did you think? Were we foolish or brave to go and do that? Anyway, we got the car to Alan safely and we came home and the Volvo really did as well, didn't it?
It's a lot better than the train.
So
I had a seat for starters. You don't get them on trains.
Heated seats.
Heated seats.
So I'm going to grab the camera and Chris is going to show you this Volvo that we bought.
I've been using this quite a bit. It's quite fun. It's surprisingly fast as well for the type of thing it is, because it's a 2.3 turbo, high pressure turbo. It's all leather.
Do you know what I like about this car? Well, you go and get the keys and I'll just say what I like about it. So it's a high mileage car. It's done 180,000 miles, but it's a genuine one owner car. We bought this car off the original owner that bought it brand new, and he had it as a company car, used it for 3 years, and then he liked it so much in 2003-ish when the company lease was up, he purchased the car from the company, and it's a genuine one owner car. And he spec'd it really well. I think silver's like a really iconic Volvo estate colour. Obviously if it was a yellow Mark 1 V70, oh, that'd be preferable. But yeah, it looks really nice in silver and it's always been garaged. So in spite of the high mileage, it's in very, very good condition. The only bit of bodywork, and it's really nothing, is purely from the mileage. This plastic nose cone has started to sort of shed some of its paint. That could easily be sorted, but I just quite like that it just, you know, tells the story that the car's completely original. And it's so clean down the sides, the doors shut well. It's a lovely thing. We couldn't resist it. We'll show you the interior in a minute, but just, yeah, moving around to the back. The other thing that I quite liked is it's still got original factory fitted tow bar with all the cover and everything. It's not a Corvette or a Mustang or a Maserati or anything else that we've had on the channel. But
not being rude about the Volvo, are you?
No, I'm just saying it
needs the prancing elk badges that you can get, I think.
Yeah, it does. It's a cool car. It is a cool. I think these are going to be a future classic.
I've had quite a few compliments in this car. To be fair, loads of people at work, yeah, you turn up in Corvettes, things like that, not interested. Turned up in this. Is that a T5? Oh, I used to have one of those. Oh, my dad used to have one. It's all that kind of thing that's happening in this.
You know what though? Because it's not a scruffy car.
There we go.
Because it's a clean car. It sort of looks time warp.
It does.
It looks like.
I mean, this tells it all really. If you look in the boot, how many 180,000 mile cars have got a boot carpet that looks like this?
Immaculate, isn't it?
There's just none, is there? That doesn't happen. Look how nice it is. You'd have this in your house.
Because it's a genuine one owner car. You've got the low load lip, like on the Defender. This has probably got a boot size that's similar to the Defender.
Yeah,
but it's better because you've not got to lift things up into it. Milo, do you want to demonstrate the boot size? Hey, come on. He doesn't want to do it, does he? Come on.
No.
Come on. No.
It's run away.
He's like, what's that weirdo doing?
You could get a Chesterfield in here if you wanted to.
You certainly could. You could get a nice bit of Swedish designer furniture. And then, yeah, under there, look, it's got a little storage. I quite like that.
And if you've got suitcases, that stops them wobbling about as well. You put them in there.
It gets no better, does it, Chris?
It just gets no better. There's more storage back here as well. Previous owner kept a piece of card down to keep his carpet clean, which is, if you're looking for signs of a well cared for car, that's the kind of thing I look for.
The guy that owned it was clearly very fastidious, wasn't he?
Yes, he's very, very fastidious. Imagine you've got kids. Booster seat, done. They've got somewhere to put the feet, done. They're not kicking the back of your chair, done.
Factory fitted booster seat.
On both sides, so you can even have two of them if you want. What's the other one, Lou? The other exciting thing.
The picnic table.
You've got a picnic table here.
What the hell, look at that. That sold us the car, didn't it?
Yeah, basically. I mean, it actually needs a bit of a clean in there, but look at that. You can have your lunch in there. You can see how this is instantly better than the train. You do not get a table and heated leather seats that on the train, do you?
No. How cool is that?
That's just awesome.
The quality of the leather's so high as well.
It is. It's absolutely beautiful.
It's a really, really nice car, this.
You've got ashtrays back here if you happen to have children that smoke as well. Again, 180,000 miles. Look at this driver's seat. There should be holes in here.
It's a little bit creased, but that's,
It's got 180,000 miles.
you can forgive it for that, can't you?
That is amazing. The quality of the leather. The gear knob. I mean, it's not got a big hole in the top of it. This car is just so solid. Look at the play in the gears. It's like butter. It's brilliant.
Chris wants to keep this one, I can feel it.
It's lovely.
But he's not, we need to sell it. So let us know in the comments what you think we bought this car for, and I'll reveal it very shortly. But let's have a quick look at the engine bay.
Again, no one's come in and power washed it, which I think is always a good sign. It's just straight, original, not messed with.
So this is a 5-cylinder 2.3 turbo. Basically the same engine that was in the first gen V70R. And what
This
does
is basically a V70R early one, isn't it? Similar.
What does it make? 250 horse
250 horsepower.
Manual gearbox.
Top speed of 155 mile an hour. Did you know, if you see one of these in white in the UK, it is an ex-police car, or it's been painted.
Really?
They didn't sell the white ones publicly.
Did they not? No.
That's what I saw on the net. The only slight downside is this here, but you know what that tells you? It's probably not had a front end smash.
I think that's original, don't you?
I think it's all original.
And it harks back to an era of glass lamps.
So no polishing the lights, they're already fine.
The lights haven't got cataracts.
Windscreen wipers on your headlights, I mean, you just don't get that anymore.
So we paid for this car, and I feel like we did pay at market rate, really.
Yeah.
I don't think we got a bargain. But it was just such a clean car, and it seemed so appealing to come home in, didn't it, in the snow? 2,600 quid. So we need to sell this car.
Yeah, yeah.
What we're going to do today is give it a wash, give it a bit of a clean, and then hopefully if we can do that before it gets dark, we'll take some photos of it.
Yes.
And get it advertised. But guys, if you're interested in it, we'll do you a deal on it. We'll give this car to a channel member for a great price. So let us know in the comments or drop us a message or whatever. We're probably going to put it on eBay and Facebook Marketplace. Just want to find a good home for it because it's a lovely car.
It is.
So what have we done to it, Chris? Remind me, since we bought it.
Right, so when I got it, I've been driving around it a little bit, and I noticed quite a rumbling sound from the front end.
Yeah.
Here-ish. Came back home, felt round all the wheels, and this one was significantly hotter than the others. So put a new wheel bearing in there.
Yeah.
There's still images of that happening. I've got the old one in the boot. So the wheel bearing itself doesn't really look, if I can get it out of the bag without getting it on the carpet, which is important, that old. See what I mean? But really sort of a stiff,
it's graunchy though, isn't it?
Stiff, yeah.
Yeah.
There is a seal that sits behind here on the hub between the wheel bearing, and that had split.
Yeah.
And it wasn't really sitting in there. It was still there though. You can't buy them very easily. A lot of on the internet says just to get rid of them. But I think that's what's failed this wheel bearing.
Water's
got into it, even though this is sealed anyway. It's not really a seal, it's more of a dust shield.
Like a dust shield,
yeah. Rather than a... So I repaired the seal as best I could. They're really hard to find, but if someone wanted to fit a new seal back there, they're really easy to get those out. It's no harder than doing a brake disc. Once you've got the brake disc off, you're in there. So you wouldn't even need to take the wheel bearing out to do it. You just take the shaft out and put it in from the back.
The other thing that we had with it, which Chris is going to talk about now because actually I've not been involved with it, we noticed that the turbo...
Yeah, it was on off.
It was being a bit weird on the turbo side of things, and it was a bit whistly. So what did you do? Have you changed most of the vac
Nearly
lines?
all the vacuum lines that you can access easily with silicone. So it was all of these, that goes into there, underneath there, those, ones that go back there, and ones that go up here, the ones to the PCVs, and that. There's one here for, I can't remember what it does, but something.
Cool.
I don't know much about turbo cars.
But that sorted it, didn't it, really?
Yes, it's massively changed the way this car behaves. It pulls like a train now, and it's surprisingly fast. It's quite a fun car.
Cool. All right, so we'll give it a wash today. And
once it defrosts the hose pipe.
And yeah, the hose pipe's frozen, and I'm going to wash the Mustang. Quick one on the Boxster, we may as well while we're here. This is Chris's daily. I don't think we've ever shown you this car, so I'm just going to give you a quick walk around it. But how long have you had this car for, Chris?
Nearly 10 years.
So this is a non-S 2.7 early 987 Gen 1.
And the reason why I bought a non-S is because I was about 23 at the time.
Yeah.
So it was basically to insure it.
It was
essentially.
it was a long time ago. I can remember that when Chris had not long owned this car, he came over to my house, and I used to live opposite a pub. And I remember I came home from work to meet Chris for a pint, and he was in the pub beer garden, and the Boxster was just out of sight. And I walked across the road, walked to the pub, and looked around the corner, and I thought, wow, that looks really nice, that car.
It was relatively new.
And it was quite new, yeah. It was like the equivalent to, say, like, well, it was probably 8 years old.
Something like
at
that,
the time.
yeah. Relatively
so like
new.
the equivalent to a 981 or something now.
Possibly even a 718.
But I've got to be honest, Chris, is it fair to say that it's a little bit like Trigger's Broom, this car?
Yes. The roads around here are not brilliant. On my second trip round the suspension.
Yeah.
Basically.
They eat coil springs, don't
yes,
they? They
coil
go through
springs.
They go through wishbone bushes and stuff.
Yeah, they do. If anyone's wondering why I'm not very flexible, it's the crossover pipes on this. A year and a half ago, I pulled my shoulder putting them on.
Why don't we, in the summer when the weather's nice, we'll do a bit of a video in it?
Yeah.
So we'll take it for a drive, and
I know people go the 2.7 slow and all that kind of thing. Actually, they're still faster on a track than a 911 turbo from the 80s. So I mean, like, they're still a fast car.
yeah, and your car, because it's on 18s, not 19s,
It rides quite nice.
it rides quite well, and it's really well maintained, even though it's dirty and got a bit of sap on it at the moment. I think it's a credit
stuff.
to you, mate. This car, I think you looked after it really well.
No, it's got nearly 120,000, or over 120,000.
So you've done what, like 50,000 miles in it?
Yes, something like that. Yeah.
Wow.
So
Cool.
it's quite a long term, really, ownership, isn't it, to have a car that long?
This is Chris's girlfriend Becky's car. So M240i.
Yes, quite
Becky's-
leery in this weather.
Yeah, Becky's annoyed with it at the moment because she can't drive it hard in the weather.
Yeah.
And she makes silly excuses about needing a new car, but the reality is this car she should not sell.
No,
I think it's a really cool car.
It's really clean.
It's like my Supra.
Yeah, yeah.
But
It's the same, very similar running gear underneath.
I only did one video on that Supra, by the way. If you check the other videos, you'll see it. But yeah, it's basically an M240i in a different sportier body shell.
It's a Z4, isn't it, a Supra? Is it a Z4?
Z4, yeah.
Which is no bad thing. It is fast.
Becky's just told me that this has got 402 brake, and it's faster than my Supra. And faster than any other car that we've got,
It's
actually.
any car ever. It's the fastest car in the world. Yeah.
Unless it's wet.
Apart from a white...
Yeah.
The only thing it's not faster than is a white transit van.
Or a
They're
Sprinter.
Yeah, or a Sprinter. They are the fastest vehicle in the world.
Where's your light switch, Chris?
Just where you are.
All right, C5s. So we'll
That's the
start.
bread and butter, isn't it, the C5s, really?
Oh, love a C5. We'll start with Kev, my Cat C write-off, colour changed, complete story car, horrible project, but I love that car. Manual C5, used to be silver, it's now painted in a lovely shade of cherry cola brown. That's going to change. I'm going to repaint the car, but we're quite a way off that. So I've only really done 1 or 2 videos maybe on Kev, but at the moment Kev is back on my drive. For the last few months he was in some temporary storage. I needed to put the car somewhere because we just had too many cars, and I found a local farmer that had a spare, I say barn, garage. It wasn't a very big space. Put the car in there for a few months. It was costing me a fortune in rent, so it was only ever going to be a short-term thing. While it was in there, I purchased a poly bush kit, lifted the car and disassembled all of the suspension like an absolute idiot.
I told you not to.
Chris told me not to. I was like, no, I'm going to do it. Anyway, made the mistake of buying a cheap poly bush kit, and there were 2 problems. One is the poly bush kit wasn't great quality, so it was difficult to install. The other thing, there were certain bodges that revealed themselves, which I'll talk about in a future video, with the existing suspension, meaning that I couldn't really fit the poly bush kit properly. So even if I'd have fitted it, which I could have done, it would have never have been right, and it would have needed to be done again. So I basically just mackled the whole thing together and took the car out of the garage. What I am going to do is, I've not bought it yet, but I'm going to buy a Fad, I can't remember the name of it. Oh, I can't remember. I'll put a picture up of what it is, but a really nice, high quality bush kit that comes with all of the little dog bone parts and all of that. And I've also purchased, obviously we've fitted the Bilstein B8 suspension. The active ride control stuff has gone. I've got B8 dampers, which are fantastic dampers.
It does ride quite a lot better than mine does now.
Oh, it rides really well. And I've bought from David Smitheram, who, if you don't know who Dave Smitheram is, Clive the C6. Go into YouTube and put Clive the C6 into YouTube and watch his videos. Unbelievable. But anyway, he had some C6 parts, so I've purchased a Z06 C6 mono leaf for the front and Z06 front and rear sway bars. So that's what it's going to have. It's going to have C6 Z06 front and rear sway bars and the front mono leaf, B8s, PU bushes all round, including the mono leaf seats and the sway bar bushes. While I'm in there, I'm going to change all the ball joints. It needs new brake flexes, so that's going to be done over the next couple of months, hopefully. I'm just going to take my time and do one corner at a time this time, rather than getting ahead of myself like I did last time. Joining me from our little garage with Kev there, and today we've been mostly messing around fitting bushes, or not, as the case may be. A little bit of a setback. Then I'm going to take it to a really good geo specialist, possibly Centre Gravity. If you know Centre Gravity in the UK, they're considered to be one of the best geometry setup type companies. Spend some money with those, and I want to get it. I don't care what the car looks like. I want to get it absolutely pucker on the handling side of things. Point to those.
Anyone guess what they're from?
Anyone guess what these are from? I've measured them and they should fit. These are going into Kev, McLaren 650S seats.
But there is a danger. If it stays too long in my garage, they might end up in that.
But these, I've got to sort out getting the electrics working. Oh mate, these are going to be absolutely banging.
Yeah, I've been looking on the old Evil Bay for a pair myself.
Let me know if anybody has ever put McLaren seats in a Corvette C5. I'm going to say that the answer's no. So it may be a world first, but I'm going to do a specific video on installing the McLaren seats into the car and getting all of the electrics working.
That's the old Corvette seat for people who are familiar. That's pretty normal. Do the McLaren seats do that?
Absolutely not. And they've still got, like, they still tilt, like, you know, so you can access the rear. These are heated.
Get in the back.
I don't think I'm going to be able to get the heated function working. Can you imagine?
Oh, is it?
Can you imagine how cool these are going to be in that car? They're going to be absolutely awesome.
It's really hard to choose seats because you've got things, obviously a left-hand drive car. You've got issues, haven't you, with finding one that's got matching controls on both sides. They often don't have full functionality on the passenger seat. No. Or they've got some silly logo on it, like, you know.
The other thing on the C5, because of the shape of where the seat goes, not many seats fit. I don't 100% know that these are going to fit, but I'm pretty sure that they will do. If they don't, I'll just sell them and buy something else, but I'm hoping that I can get them in there.
I think there's a chance. It's going to be tight.
It'll be tight, but there's a chance. Anyway, so that is Kev. Now, Chris is in the process, and we're halfway through filming this, so we're going to do a dedicated video on what we've got in store for you guys on Chris's C5. If we just go back in time to about I don't know exactly when it was, but I think it was about 2 years ago, Chris and I bought this car as a non-runner, and we did a series of videos that were never really finished. If you check back through the channel and look at the older videos and find the project non-runner C5 project vids, you'll be able to catch up on basically where we are with it. But since then,
we weren't really that serious on YouTube then.
No,
things on phones and
yeah, it wasn't. They're probably not great videos, to be honest, but the content is there. It explains how we got the car fixed and everything. Chris took a real shine to this car, and
I've always wanted an American V8 car since I was about 5 years old. It's like I used to go to the Americana in Newark.
Yeah.
And I always wanted one. I always thought, they're too difficult to run in the UK.
Yeah.
And they're just not.
No. So Chris ended up buying me out, and because we went halves in and bought the car together as a joint project, which we sometimes do, like with the ZR1, which we're going to come to later. And we did a video with Jack over on the number 27 channel. So if you look at the Corvette on Jack's channel, number 27,
it's this car.
That's this car. Obviously, it was before certain things have been done, like the colour change on the wheels, different number plate and stuff like that.
On that video, the starter motor failed, so
yeah.
We had to bump start it several times to do the video.
So, towards the end of last year, we did a dyno day on Kev and this C5, and Chris was slightly disappointed with the power output on your car, weren't you?
Ever so slightly, yeah.
So I'm going to grab the camera and you can talk us through where we're at with it.
The 270 would be really a healthy engine then, if it's got 340 to,
Yeah. I think it's done its first pull, sort of. I've had a quick look at the graph on the screen. I'm not going to tell Chris what it's making yet. I don't fully know because the headline figure's not there, but I can see the curve. Right, it's going for pull 2. So 325 at the engine, estimated. 264 at the wheels, roughly.
Too bad.
435 Newton meters. That's not bad, is it?
That's quite a talk, that. Right, so I'm going to do a full Tesla EV swap. Oh no, I'm joking. I'm not going to do that. What I'm doing is heads, cam, intake. So I've got 243 heads from a C5 Z06. I've got the Z06 intake, and I've got a Melling performance cam to go in it.
Cool.
Which we'll talk about in that video a bit more.
The end goal, guys, you've guessed it. Bit of NA V8 tuning.
Bit more power.
On Kev, the burgundy wreck that I've got, it's not a wreck, but it's a rough car. Yours is a nice tidy car. I'm going for handling, drivability. I want the handling to be absolutely as good as it can possibly be without being unusable on the roads.
Yeah. No.
Chris is going the other direction. He's happy with the way that the car drives in terms of its road holding and everything else, but he wants more power.
I mean, it kind of came down to these parts came available. You can't get Corvette Z06 parts in the UK very often.
No.
So when they come up, you've got to buy them.
Yeah.
Paid about, I think it's 600 quid for the heads and the intake with the valve springs in it, and
well, that's not bad, is it?
so it's quite a good potential power gain for not a lot of money. You can see obviously people screaming that these are left open. The head's off, so it doesn't matter. Nothing can possibly fall down there.
That head there
is actually off the car.
That head, you could literally just lift it off. It's just there to
stop dust and debris falling in the cylinder.
We're halfway through this job and we've been filming it, and we're going to do 1 or 2 or maybe even 3 videos of the whole install of the cam, the new heads. Then we're going to take it to the dyno and compare it to what we did before.
Yeah.
We'll probably take another car to the dyno as well. Maybe the Mustang, or maybe Kev if he's ready.
Yeah.
Because if you remember on that dyno video, and guys watch it if you've not seen it,
Kev had a bad day.
Kev could only max out at 80 mile per hour because it had this issue with the electrics. So we were only able to dyno Kev up to the point where Kev did 80 and then it just went flat. So I would like to...
1-to-1 is 4th gear in this. It's about 130, isn't it?
Yeah. But it'd be a really good A-B comparison because they're both manual cars, both the same age. Kev's, as far as we know, stock, and obviously with this car it's going to be not stock, cam heads, etc.
They're probably going to make less power, knowing my luck.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
I think
look how clean it is.
Yeah, I think it'll do really well.
I can't believe this radiator's original. Surely it can't be. It's got 130 odd thousand on it.
Yeah.
Someone's been in this engine and done stuff in this car before.
It's a really...
It's too clean to not have.
This car...
It's things like the... I was changing the rear diff oil.
Yeah.
Normally that's disgusting, isn't it? You do the rear diff on a 130,000 mile car. Brown sludge comes out. No, beautiful red.
Yeah.
Diff oil came out that smelled okay, fresh and clean. It's like someone's been through this really well.
Well, I can't say the same about my C5, But it's nice to have both cars together, isn't it?
Yeah.
They're both manual, and we can, you know.
They're such a good package. It's such a good package.
They're wicked. I'm never going to get rid. I don't say this very often, and Chris, you won't believe me.
No.
But I'm never going to get rid of that car unless I really needed to get rid of it for some reason.
They're just such a good package.
And I can improve on it and make it nice, and it doesn't owe me a great deal of money.
A bit like a TVR that's just a little bit safer and a little bit easier to run.
Yeah.
And a little bit more comfortable and all those sorts of things. They don't rot.
While we're in here, the Spitfire.
Oh gosh.
Let's just tell the viewers about the Spitfire. So, this was Chris's first car.
Yeah.
How old are you?
36, I think.
And you got this when you were 18?
So, no, 17.
17?
So I've nearly had it 20 years now.
So you've had this car for longer than you were alive for before you didn't have it?
Yes, correct.
That is mental.
So it's a Mark III. So I wanted a Mark III, so I like the round tail.
So the Mark III Spitfire, chrome bumpers.
The Mark III was the fastest one. It's a 1300.
1300.
Yeah, 1300.
So is this a Michelotti design?
It is, yeah. So Italian styling.
Very, very pretty, isn't it?
It's very pretty. If you squint, there's a little bit of the old Ferrari 250 short wheelbase.
When I think of a Spitfire, I think of those, you know, the Triumph rear lights.
Yeah.
Ones that you see on everything.
Yeah, the stag.
Like the stag lights. But the rear end is so dainty on this, isn't it?
It's more like a really early 60s. It's a late 50s design, really.
I love this car. I last drove this car in about 2017, and I just think it's really nice. I had so much fun in it. I only blasted it for a few miles, didn't I?
Yeah. It's
obviously
a little go-kart.
It's not quick, but you're so low to the ground and exposed.
It feels, 70 miles an hour in this.
Can we lift the bonnet?
Yes, 70 miles an hour in this feels like you're doing 140 in that. Not that I'll know what that feels like, obviously.
For obvious reasons, Chris doesn't drive this car in the winter, but in the summer we will do a full review on it where we get it out and give it a clean and go through it.
I've looked after it pretty well. It's probably in better condition than what I got it in.
Yeah.
It's all polybush now. I like, these were silver, that was silver. They should be black and gold, so I put those to the right colours. So I want it to be as original as possible. Things like the brake master cylinder and the clutch were plastic. I put the metal ones in like it should have. I've kept the original charging system. I've kept it 100% original, really, and put it more original than it was.
I must say, dude, it's a credit to you. It's such a nice little car, isn't it? And when you lift that engine, when you lift that bonnet, the engine looks so clean.
I mean, the story of this is, I bought it, me and my dad, we bought it off the first owner's wife.
Yeah.
He sadly died probably not long after restoring the car. So the end of the restoration was kind of rushed a little bit. See, he drove it for 10 years, then he gave it to his daughter, I think, that drove it for 10 years. And then they started restoring it over the next 10 years or so. He had it about 30 years, give or take. So it was ready. It was ready for a restoration. It had a full frame off. In fact, I've got some pictures. Full frame off restoration. But sadly, he only got, I think, 1 or 2 trips out in it before he left. Hopefully, he's looking down and thinking it's been looked after. So that's the main thing. It's 3rd of January '69. So really
so it's a
early.
56 year. It's going to be 56 years old.
56 years old. Yeah. This is all the restoration pics. So it went down to that.
Wow.
So it's a full frame off restoration. There you go, smoking a cigar whilst welding. Proper job. Right back to nothing, really.
Wow. I've never seen these.
Yeah, it's quite interesting to see. I think there might be a picture of me in here somewhere. See how that was all silver? It doesn't look quite right to me like that. There he is, that's the first owner.
Amazing.
And I think here there's a picture of me, very young, with blonde hair.
Hang on, let me see if I can.
With L plates on.
Yeah.
There we go.
Wow.
So yeah, genuinely did learn to drive on it.
Well, look, guys, if you like the look of this car and you want to see us drive it, stick around and in the summer or in the spring we'll do some driving videos of it. I love this car.
This is where the inspiration came from. My mum had one.
Oh, your mum had one?
When they were fairly new, in the 80s really this was, up to the 90s. But
see, that's the rear end that you think of.
That's the latest bit. That's a 1500. So
and
it's
do you know what?
late
That's still, they're ubiquitous in the UK. So when I was a kid, I'd see these all the time, and I think I'm just desensitised to this design. But it's actually not that bad. I prefer the Michelotti
I
shape.
prefer the earlier shapes. I like a real old car. But they had this a long time. And used to go to shows and things.
Yeah.
There you go, that's probably one of the first shows I went to.
2006.
So a long time ago.
Look at that. How cool.
Long time ago. But yeah, I don't do many miles in it now, maybe 500 or 600 a year. But that's all you need to do, isn't it? You can't take, I mean, I think if I was using this in the winter in the Sol, it would be gone now. Whereas it's exactly the same, really. There's no rot on it.
It's a lovely little car. I really like it.
The old test of, do your hands get dirty a little bit? But
and I love to see it out in the wild, because you just don't see things like this really now, do you?
No, very rare to see.
The moment that you've all been waiting for.
Yeah, what's happening with that old ZR1? Is that right?
Yeah. So let me just park I'm just going to park the camera.
It's not blown up. It's okay.
We're getting onto the ZR1 in a moment, but there is one other car that you might have seen in the background, which is Keith, the blue Rover.
God, what a great car. In fact, I've got an AI song that we could play over some screenshots of Keith, the blue Rover.
Before you tell us a story, we've started to film some footage of Keith. We've got a half-finished video, which at some point we'll finish and upload. But over to you, mate, you tell us.
It's a rather endearing old thing, Keith is, I think. Someone at work, it's been a friend of mine for a long time, and she came up to me quite upset. Sadly, her dad had passed away, and she came to me. She wanted to get rid of a scrap car. Are you know anyone that can take it away, kind of thing? I was like, okay, what is it, kind of thing? Rover 45, and I was like, oh, okay, right, quite, you know. I used to drive Mum's ZR around, so it's a little bit of a nostalgia thing for me, that car.
Yeah.
It's one of the first cars I drove, apart from that Spitfire, was MG ZR. Very similar car, really. And we went to the house, didn't we, to look at the car, and it had 17,000 miles from new. And I was like, you can't scrap this. You can't just scrap this with 17,000 miles. That'd be tragic. So paid her twice what she was offered for scrap, which I think was fair. £500.
Yeah.
They don't go for a lot of money, those cars, and I imagine that very few people will be interested in a video on that car. But if you are, well, we might release it.
We'll release it anyway.
On the channel, yeah, and see if anyone's interested. But Keith is the car. It's quite an endearing thing. It's actually a fantastic drive. It tells you just how far, I think, again, we've come back in cars. They all feel really numb, insulated. You go out in a Rover 45 1.4, a really basic car, and hustle that down a B road.
And it's really good fun.
You'll have great fun.
Yeah.
For no money. It feels like more like a Lotus Elise than a modern car.
Well, it's got a K-series in it, hasn't it?
Yeah, it's got a K-series, it's got a peppy engine, but the steering's sharp. It's more similar to a Lotus Elise than a modern sports car is, I think.
Do you know what
sort of way.
You know what I like about Keith as well? Keith has got a bit of an identity crisis, because that era Rover 45, and I'm not an expert on Rovers, it's basically the tail end of a partnership between Honda and Rover, but it was built, and the facelift sort of bit of it was designed when BMW owned Rover Group. So it's an amalgamation of Rover, Honda and BMW parts, and it's a really weird mix.
So you've got BMW seats, you know, the levers that they always have down the side. You've got
Rover Japanese dashboard,
which it's different from all the Rover 25, different dashboard to the 45.
Yeah.
They're in no way related, even though they look quite similar.
It's a Honda Civic dashboard in it, basically.
Yeah, it's a Honda. If you look at a Honda Civic from, I don't know, early mid-90s, it's exactly the same. Things like Honda switches for the mirrors and the petrol filler cap, that's all Honda. And then obviously the K-series, which is a Rover engine, Rover gearbox, probably Rover heater controls. It's kind of a real amalgamation of parts. It's quite interesting, I think.
It's a funny little car, isn't it? But we'll do a little video on it. The moment you've all been waiting for, what is happening with the ZR1? Where is it? Why have we not talked about it much? And what are the plans for this year? So we'll just start with a brief recap. We bought the car, I think it was April 2024.
Feels like ages ago.
It was ages ago, the weather was nice, and it was parked up for 25 years-ish, let's say. 20-25 years, and it was parked outside. It wasn't in dry storage, so we took a chance on it. We bought it. Remember the price? $9.5 grand.
Quite a scary amount of money for a car you've not heard turn over with an engine you can't buy.
we wanted to save that car. We saw potential in it, and we invited Johnny Smith from the Late Break Show to come on the day when we were going to pick it up to do a barn find video on it. That took us from 500 subs to like 15,000 almost overnight. So then we're in a situation where we needed to
try and tell the story of it a bit better.
Yeah, try and like be better at what we do. And I think that we've over the year improved slightly. We're getting better all the time and trying to, you know, improve the equipment that we use, get better at recording audio, etc.
Neither of us have any media training or knowledge on this stuff at all.
So we hit the ground running with the ZR1, and we've actually spent thousands of pounds on it.
Yeah.
Getting it to the point where it actually runs, drives, has an MOT, and if you've not seen all of those videos, there's about 17 episodes, I think. Just watch a few of them or watch all of them and catch up. But when the weather started to turn bad in about September, October, and when it started to get colder,
and it's more the lighting as well. In the night's drawing, I finish work at sort of 4:30, so now it's an hour to you. It's just dark, isn't it, basically? You can't film in the dark, you can't see anything. We
were filming that car after work, so Chris and I had finished work. Chris had razz over to my house, and then we'd have a few hours of daylight up until, like, let's say, like 8 or 9 o'clock to try and film some stuff, and that worked quite well. Once it starts getting dark later on, after, say, like 5, we just can't film after work. That can't happen. So then you're into weekends. And every weekend, there's like things happening where we can't...
Something's intervening one way or the other.
So we're just thinking, shit, like, we really want to finish the car, but we just don't physically have the time. We want to do it together. So, you know, it'd be easy for me to work on the car and not film it, but then, you know, we can't share it with you guys. Chris doesn't get the benefit of being a part of that.
Yeah.
And if it was the other way around and the car was here, you know, and Chris was working on it on his own, I'd feel like I was left out. So we're trying to find the time to do it together, and it's really difficult. But once the weather starts to get better,
it's on the up now. The daylight's coming back.
Yeah, the daylight is coming back. The car is currently in storage. My neighbour, the guy with the Toyota Hilux, I know that you guys are probably like looking around in the background at my dodgy guttering and, you know, what cars the neighbours have and all that. So the guy that's got the Hilux has a small holding that's just around the corner from where we live, and he's rented me some barn space. So the ZR1 is in a barn, and it's safe and dry, and there's no mice in there. And
hopefully,
the plan in the next few weeks, and we promise it will be in the next few weeks, bear with us. We've bought a set of Nitto tyres, which are ready to be fitted. We're going to take the wheels off and get the wheels refurbished and the Nittos fitted. We want to redo all of the clutch hydraulics.
Yeah, there's something odd with you get a graunching noise occasionally on the pedal travel, and I think it's something to do with...
It's not a gearbox noise, it's like a noise with the clutch. So we're going to change the clutch slave cylinder, clutch master cylinder, bleed all the system through. We're going to change the diff fluids.
Which we haven't done yet.
Which we've not done. We've got the fluids, but we've just not done it.
Gearbox fluid.
Gearbox fluid, that's going to be done. We're still not happy with the Bilstein suspension. Because if you remember the episode where we took all the shocks off and checked them, they seem to be working okay, but now we've got an issue where the actuators...
We're not in the right place.
We think they're out of sync, so we're hoping that we've not broken them, but basically that's not working properly, so we need to address that.
I need to open the service manual and see if there's anything in there about how to reset them, or a certain position they need to be in when you put them in.
Yeah, but so we need to continue working on the suspension. We'd like to fit new bushes where possible. And at that point, it should be quite usable. We're thinking about the paintwork. We would like to have it painted longer term on one hand, but on the other hand, we quite like the originality of it. So we're torn between the devil and the deep blue sea.
I'm very much of the
keep it as it is.
I don't want to paint it.
Yeah, and I'm swaying also to keep it as it is.
Because it's not that bad, and I think by the time, I mean, maybe paint the roof.
Well, I'm all or nothing. I think either leave it
or
don't do anything other than maybe touch a few bits in with literally some touch up to protect.
A bit of hammerite black.
Yeah.
But it ain't going to rot.
Well, we don't know whether... The bottom line is, we don't know whether we're going to paint it or not. We might fully respray it, or on the other hand, we might just completely leave it as it is. But we want it mechanically perfect.
When it's clean, you know, it's clean. You look at it from a distance. When we saw it at the ice blasting, on the ramp, it looked like a really clean car. From like 10 feet away, you went, wow, that's a clean, looking car. And
it still does look a clean car, and in some ways it'd be a shame to paint it. We've got a seal kit for the Targa seals, for the door seals and everything, because they're all completely shot. We're going to replace, I think we replace those anyway.
Yeah, 100%, they all need doing.
Yeah, so that's another video that's going to come up. Rest assured guys, we're on the ZR1 and we are, as soon as we can get to the car, we'll be getting it fighting fit.
I think when the wheels are refurbed with new tyres, it'll almost lift the entire car.
I 100% agree.
That the paint it won't look tatty anymore.
No.
Because the wheels are all the bubbling on the paint around the wheels, around where the badge goes in the middle.
Yeah, that's what
what makes it look tatty.
Yeah, it's going to look really sharp, and that hopefully in 1 or 2 weeks we'll have that work done, won't we?
Nice new tyres and wheels.
So that is a recap of last year and where we're going this year. We'll do a quick wash of the Volvo and the Mustang, and that'll probably be about it for this episode. As always, thanks for your support. Thanks so much for your support during 2024 and helping us grow the channel from 500 to 20,000. We couldn't have done it without all you guys, so we really appreciate it. Let us know in the comments what you'd like to see from our channel in the new year. One more thing I just wanted to say is to all of our viewers that are in California with the wildfires at the moment, we're thinking of you guys, and we hope that situation improves for you all. Nightmare that is, isn't it?
Yeah, you can't think of any worse really.
So yeah, as always, thanks for watching. Stick around, subscribe if you like the videos, and if you don't like the videos, then
subscribe.
You don't have to watch it, but you could subscribe anyway, yeah. So yeah, we'll see you around very soon for the next one, and we'll finish this with a bit of a montage of washing the cars and stuff like that. Cheers.
Down on a farm, April 2024. Lou and Chris found a legend ignored and worn. A black Corvette C4 ZR1, dusty and tired. A king of speed once, so admired. From 180 miles per hour to a screeching halt. It sat for 20 years in the wind and rain. Forgotten power, but it called their name. Revolutionary when it first hit the scene. The king of the hill, the ultimate American dream. 4-cam LT5 V8, born to ignite. Fastest vet of its time, a star of the night. Johnny Smith lent a hand, unearthed the gold. Then the Autofunk story was boldly told. From 500s to thousands, thanks to you all. The subscribers who answered the gearhead call. With wrenches and grit in the cold and the rain, the ZR1's roar came alive again. Brakes rebuilt, engine revived. Suspension tuned to make it thrive. They cleaned the cabin, restored the soul. Working through storms to make the car whole. And while they toiled on the ZR1 dream, they couldn't resist more cars in the scene. A cherry cola brown manual C5 with name Kev, a bright red Corvette, and a really noisy Mustang. A Maserati in blue with a sweet V8 tune. A Defender in brown, rugged and true. Keith the blue Rover, classic and neat. And a black C5 Convertible found for all in leather tree. From 500 to thousands, thanks to you all. The subscribers who answered the gearhead call. With wrenches and grit in the cold and the rain, the ZR1's roar came alive again. The ZR1's legacy was speed and might, breaking records, a Corvette in flight. But it's not just the car, it's the story we tell of hard work, passion, and sharing it well. So here's to the journey, and here's to the crew. To all the subscribers, we owe it to you. Autofunk's growing, we'll keep shifting gears. With laughter, grease, and plenty of cheer. The black ZR1 roars, the barn find revive. And thanks to you all, Autofunk.
So that concludes another video. Thanks for watching as always, and see you around for the next one. Cheers. Bye.
It's freezing.
It is freezing.